Hey everyone. Just waiting to see that we're live. Yes, we are live. Excellent. Hello, and welcome to the Yissel Missile Productions channel. My name is Steven Yissel. Today we're doing part 7 of the deep dive into Ed Leedskalnin and his Coral Castle. So we have 2 more pamphlets left today. We have Mineral, Vegetable, and Animal Life. By Ed. And we also have The Enigma of Coral Castle by Ray N. Stoner. So we'll be looking at this as well. There are a lot of cool pictures in this one. I hope you're all doing well today. We are live, and we will be getting started shortly here. So, I hope you're doing well. It's been a long day. I guess this is what I get. I worked on the Chicago film industry intro for a good portion of the night last night, and that's looking pretty good now. So, just a lot of stuff going on right now. But I'm going to keep on schedule here. We're going to rock this. We got vegetable, or mineral, vegetable, and animal life. It's not that many pages here, but it is a lot of small text. And I'm not sure where anyone can get this other than the gift shop at Coral Castle, since this is where I got my copy. But I'm sure if you want to seek it out, you can. And we've seen this photograph before. So, without further ado, let's get this slideshow going. There we go. Okay, and we will get rolling here. So this pamphlet's called Mineral, Vegetable, and Animal Life. Perpetual Motion Holder. And it's by Edward Leedskalnin, Rockgate, Homestead, Florida, USA. And just to show you, this is how tiny the text is. But between that, there's about 10 pages here. But we will get started. Mineral, Vegetable, and Animal Life. What is life? Mineral life is to hold the mineral matter together. Vegetable life is to hold the vegetable matter together and increases in volume. Animal life is to hold the animal matter or flesh together, increase the volume, and give motion to muscles. The base of life is the North and South Pole magnets. The magnets are indestructible. Every period of material life goes through two periods, construction and deconstruction period, but the life itself is indestructible. Life has no beginning and no end. The sun is living in a destruction period and the earth is in a construction period. In the sun, only mineral life exists, but on earth, mineral, vegetable, and animal life exist. One form of life goes through the destruction period. The life leaves the matter and goes somewhere else. For instance, when zinc in a battery is taken in parts by acid, the north and south pole magnets that held the zinc together, they leave the zinc, and if right connections are made, they will come out of the battery. Then they can be used for other purposes. I could run those north and south pole magnets in my personal motion holder, then they will produce perpetual motion, and when I want to use the same magnets for other purposes, I can make a flash of light from them. Now you can see when the zinc went dead, those north and south pole magnets that held the zinc together, they did not die but escaped and went somewhere else. The drawing on the front cover is like the perpetual motion holder I made. If I run north and south pole magnets from a car battery is stronger than zinc battery, and those two coils, while the laminated iron crossbar is across the iron bar prong, and fill the iron bar orbit with magnets, then those north and south pole magnets will never stop running around. They will run around until the crossbar is pulled off. The north pole magnets come out of the battery's positive terminal, and south pole magnets come out of car battery's negative terminal. To be sure it is so, you get two pieces of soft steel welding rod 4 inches long, put them in clips and connect them with the car battery. I put those two loose rod ends together until the rod gets hot. Now test each of those rod ends you were pulling together with a small needle-like horizontally hanging magnet. Then you will see the one which is connected with positive terminal is north pole magnet, and the one which is connected with negative terminal is south pole magnet. Like poles repulses, and unlike poles attract. You can change the rod pieces, but every time the one is connected with positive terminal will be north pole magnet, and the one connected with negative terminal will be south pole magnet. I'll reread that. You can change the rod pieces, but every time the one is connected with positive terminal will be north pole magnet, and the one connected with negative terminal will be south pole magnet. If perpetual motion holder's north pole prong is put east, south pole prong west, and then elevate the crossbar's center up to the south pole vertically hanging magnet, then the magnet will swing south, and when the crossbar's center is elevated up to north pole vertically hanging magnet, then the magnet will swing north. The crossbar's ability to swing the north and south pole magnets off its center will remain as long as the crossbar is not disturbed. It has little power, but it could be made stronger by making bigger dimensions. From the above experiment, you could see the perpetual motion holder can act as a living thing. It knows which way to swing each magnet. This shows if more magnets are added to a living thing, then it can perform things it could not do before. Could that be hinting at something there? The same is true concerning our body and everything else. Those surplus magnets, they are the real life. Magnets in general are indestructible. For instance, you can burn wood or flesh. You can destroy the body, but you cannot destroy the magnets that held together the body. They go somewhere else. Iron has more of the magnets than wood, and every different substance has a different number of magnets that hold the substance together. If I make a battery with copper for positive terminal and beef for negative terminal, I get more of the magnets out of it than when I used copper for positive terminal and sweet potato for negative terminal. From this you could see that no two things are alike. Several years ago I read in the paper that the scientists cannot find out how the green chlorophyll converts the sunlight in plant food. They are looking in the wrong direction. It is not the green chlorophyll that converts the sunlight in plant food. It is the water that does it. That green chlorophyll was not so green in the first place. In fact, it was not green at all. It became green by evaporation. The water in plants catches the running sunlight that is coming from the sun, and the north and south pole magnets wrap themselves around the caught particles of sunlight, and as soon as the particles of sunlight which are wrapped around by the north and south pole magnets are coming in the suitable part of the plant, then they join the plant and become a part of it. The north and south pole magnets are going in and out of the earth all the time, everywhere, and their numbers are limitless. I have several lily pools where I keep the water in. I have watched the lily pools for 16 years. When I put clear water in the pools where the sunlight can shine in, then in 2 months' time I can see the moss. Let me reread that. When I put clear water in the pools where the sunlight can shine in, then in 2 months' time I could see the moss is beginning to grow. But when I poured the water in the pools where there was no green chlorophyll in the water. This shows that the plants can grow without green chlorophyll. The sunlight was running in the water every day, and the north and south pole magnets were running through the water all the time. The north and south pole magnets are passing through every tree. The bigger the tree, the more magnets will be passing through it. You have noticed that lightning hits the biggest tree and the tallest building. In the north hemisphere, the south pole magnets are going up and the north pole magnets coming down in the same flash. Lightning only strikes if the north and south magnets are concentrated too much in a small place. If not concentrated, then they pass through everything without much notice. I believe that water, sunlight, and north and south pole magnets are making the plants grow. You have heard that if somebody happens to hold a power line in their bare hands, it becomes impossible for him to let loose from the power line. The power line is full of north and south pole magnets, so they overpower the body's weaker system and make it impossible for it to open the hands. This shows that the magnets can contract and release the muscles. I can see tiny lightning in my eyes if I close the eyelids and give a side push to the eyeball from the nose outward, but I cannot do it every day. When I keep eating more for some time, then I could see the tiny lightning while my eyes are open. All that I have to do is turn my head from one side to the other side. This shows that we have in our body the same kind of magnets that are making the big lightning in the sky. When I connect my tongue and feet with microampere meter, the meter shows that I have magnets in my body. Sometimes I have more of the magnets in my body than at other times. The presence of magnets in our body would indicate that the magnets are operating our muscles. Where do our bodies get the magnets from? You know that to get the magnets from zinc, we have to put the zinc and acid in the battery where it can be dissolved. Our digestive system is like a battery, but more complicated. We get magnets from the food we eat. The acid and other digestive juices dissolve the food and liberate the magnets to be used for other purposes. I have never studied human anatomy, but I know there are many little cords that the magnets can pass through. All that has to be done is to make the right connections. All our body functions are physical. There is no mental function in us. For instance, thinking the same as talking is physical process. We all would think loud if we were not suppressed while we were small. When we think, we contract the muscles that are for that purpose, but the contradiction is so delicate we cannot notice it. This is all that I can tell about our body functions. If I had studied chemistry and human anatomy, I am sure I could tell you more about our body functions. And by the way, on the bottom it says copyright October 1945 by Ed Leedskalnin. And on the top of the next page it says advertisement reprinted from Miami Daily News, Miami, Florida. So I guess you could find this at the museum if you wanted to look there. Alright, and let's continue here. Magnetic current. Researchers. Read about magnetic current, what it is, how it is made, what makes it, and the way it runs in the wire. Then you will know what the North and South Pole individual magnets can do, and then you will know what electricity is. Send $1 by return mail, and you will get an 8 scribing what is mineral, vegetable, and animal life, and a drawing of a perpetual motion holder. The reading is not intended for the general public. Only those who want to experiment should order the booklet. The other people should save their money. Send no check. Address to Box Holder, Route 1, Box 196, Homestead, Florida. Before my research work, I knew nothing about electricity. The only thing I knew was that nobody knows what electricity is. So I thought I'm going to find out why they do not know. I thought that if electricity could be made and managed for over 100 years, then the makers do not know what it is. There is something wrong about it. I found out that the researchers were misled by wrong instruction books and by one-sided instruments. Voltmeters and ampere meters are one-sided. They only show what is called by instruction books positive electricity, but never show negative electricity. Now you could see that one half of the electricity escaped their notice. If the researchers had used the same kind of equipment I used to demonstrate what magnetic current is, they would have found out a long time ago what electricity is. The positive electricity is composed of streams of North Pole individual magnets, and negative electricity is composed of streams of South Pole individual magnets. They are running one stream of magnets against the other stream in whirling right-hand wrist and with high speed. Protons and electrons. Are you sure they are not the North and South Pole individual magnets? If we have anything, we have to show that we have it. Show the base where it came from and show how the thing functions. We can find concentrated North and South Pole individual magnets in the Earth in a metal. With the metal, we can demonstrate that the free North and South Pole individual magnets are circulating in the Earth. In the North Hemisphere, the South Pole individual magnets are going up, and the North Pole individual magnets are coming down. Those free circulating North and South individual magnets are the building material for the magnet metal we find in the Earth. This should show that the North and South Pole individual magnets are the real atom builders, and not the protons and electrons. I think the North and South Pole individual magnets are running in an orbit around a common core in an atom the same way as they run in an orbit around a common core in the perpetual motion holder that I made. The only difference is that an atom has a small orbit, but the perpetual motion holder has a big orbit. I have never seen an atom, but I think the atom drawings are wrong. They should be drawn to fit the Earth on account of the fact that the atom is part of the Earth. The Earth has two magnet poles. This means that each pole has an equal pull and push to hold the Earth together, and so each atom should be built as it could have two poles. In that case, both forces that make magnet poles should run around a common core. The core could be a particle of sunlight. If one half of the force that makes up the atom is in the core, and the other half of the force run around like the core, then in that case the atom could not join the other atoms to make a metal that could hold two magnet poles. I believe that if some enterprising man would analyze the magnet metal which comes straight from the Earth, he would find that the metal is not built up by protons and electrons, but by North and South Pole individual magnets. I think anyone who excludes magnets and calculations about things that this Earth contains, he is wrong. Those who want to know how North and South Pole individual magnets contract the muscles. Connect each end of a fresh terrapin muscle with each terminal of a battery. Then you will see how the muscles are contracted. By the way, I'm reading this word for word, so if it sounds disjointed, it's Ed's writing, not my reciting of it. And I'm also trying to make sense of it as we go along here. Well, let's continue. This is for biologists. I can see chromosomes without a microscope. To see, I close my eyes and then I open one eye just a little to look at the blue sky. Then I can see chains of beads floating in the liquid in my eye. He's talking about floaters. Some chains of beads are longer than others. Most of the chains are folded over in irregular shapes, and between several beads in a chain there is a bigger bead, and sometimes there is one, two, or more beads hanging outside the chain, and sometimes I could see one, two, or more beads floating separately. Each bead's center is light and the outside rim dark. If I open my eye a little more and look sharper, then I could see round shining things running in every direction in jumpy paths. Some leave shiny wave like a path before they disappear. Each shiny thing is many times smaller than each smallest bead. They are not crowded. They all use the same speed, but the speed is a little too fast for good observation. To see finer things yet, I look in a gray cloud with the eye open until I see a darker spot. When the spot begins to boil in the middle, then I could see tiny multicolored streaks running around out of the middle. The scene lasts about a minute, and when it is gone, then nobody can know when the next scene will come around. Matter. Every form of existence, whether it be rock, tree, or animal, has a beginning and an end. But the three things that all matter is constructed from has no beginning and no end. They are the North and South Poles individual magnets and the neutral particles of matter. These three different things are the construction blocks of everything. To begin, a meteor rock falls in the sun dissolves the rock to the final division of matter. the North and South Pole individual magnets, and the sunlight, then sends them out here. The vegetation absorbs some of the magnets and the sunlight, and then grows. We eat the vegetation products and build up our body, and then when we die and our body is cremated, the ashes can be made into a rock, and then the rock can be sent to the sun to be dissolved again. The North and South Pole magnets can be detected while they are coming down from the sun by radio. The radio waves are made by the North and South Pole magnets. They spread around the Earth, and the North and South Pole magnets that are coming down from the sun are hitting the radio waves across, so it is disturbing their paths. That is the reason why we cannot hear the radio as well in the daytime as we do at night. At nighttime, we only get those magnets that are coming down from the other suns or stars, but in the daytime we get them all. Yesterday's sunlight is neutral particles of matter. If you had been high up above the earth yesterday, there would not have been as much light as there was on the ground. There you would have seen stars the same as the nighttime down here. In the empty space between the stars there is not much light, so the stars can be seen. Sunlight is light when it passes through some obstruction like the air. By going through an empty space, it is not much of a light. Millions of people all over the world are being fooled by the non-existing electrons. Here is how the electrons came into existence. Thomson invented an imaginary baby and called it an electron. Rutherford adopted it, and now the men with the long hair are nursing it. The electron has a brother, and its name is proton, but it is heavy and lazy. It remains stationary in the middle, but the electron has to run around it. To the electrical engineers, the positive electricity is everything. The negative electricity is nothing. But to the physicists, the negative electricity is everything, and the positive electricity is nothing. Looking from a neutral standpoint, they cancel each other. So we have no electricity, but we have something. If we do not know how to handle the thing that comes through a wire from a generator or a battery, we will get badly shocked. Read the booklet Magnetic Current, which we did last week. Then you will know what the thing is and the way it runs through a wire. Invention of an electron came by a tricky method in using electricity in a vacuum tube. Normally, whether it be a generator or a battery, the positive terminal will have to be connected to the negative terminal, but in the vacuum tube, two batteries with different strengths were used. The smaller battery was connected normally, but the larger battery's negative terminal was connected to the smaller battery's negative terminal, and the positive terminal was left alone. That connection gave the negative terminal a double dose of strength, and so it became hotter and could push more. It was called cathode, and the positive terminal anode. And the electricity that passed from the cathode to the anode was called electrons. In case the inventor had used normally direct methods to find out what the electricity was, he could have found out that the positive and negative electricity is in equal strength and are running positive electricity against the negative electricity. That can be seen by connecting each of two pieces of soft iron wire with each terminal of a car battery, and then by putting together and pulling away each loose end of the soft iron wire. More sparks can be seen coming out of the positive terminal than from the negative terminal. This direct method is more reliable than the tricky method in the vacuum tube. The trouble with the physicists is They use indirect and ultra indirect methods to come to their conclusions. If the inventor of electrons had a vacuum tube in which his electrons could run close to the top of the vacuum tube from the west side of the cathode to the east side of the anode, and then would hang a vertically hanging magnet that is made from 3-inch long hard steel fishing wire, and then hang one magnet pole at one time right on top in the middle of his stream of electrons, then he would have seen the North Pole magnet swinging north, and the South Pole magnet swinging south. The same thing will happen if the magnets are held above any wire where the electricity is running through. Those two vertically hanging magnets prove that the electricity is composed of two different and equal forces. Another way to prove this is to connect a flexible wire loop east end of the wire with positive batteries terminal, west end with negative terminal. Raise the loop 1 inch above the floor. Put U-shaped magnet 1 inch from loop, North Pole, south side of the loop. The North Pole magnet will pull in the loop, but put the South Pole magnet in the same place. It will push the loop away. Put the South Pole magnet north side of the loop. This time it will pull the loop in. Pull the North Pole magnet in the same place, it will push the loop away. This indicates that electricity, the same as a magnet bar, is composed of two equal forces, and each force is running one against the other in whirling right-hand twist. But those forces in the wire have higher speed, and both forces are coming out across from the same wire. One of the forces is North Pole magnets and the other is South Pole magnets. They are the cosmic forces. Your electric motor is turned around on its axis by North and South Pole magnets. Even you could not start your car without the North and South Pole magnets. If electricity is made with the North and South Pole magnets and the electric motor is turned around on its axis by the North and South Pole magnets, as is the fact, then this will bring up a question. Where then are those Thomson electrons? They are not around the electric motor. The plain answer is they are non-existing. Rays. When I reduce the material from which comes out from... sorry about that. When I reduce the material from which comes out the alpha, the beta, and gamma rays, so small when it is magnified 100 times and appearing the same site as an average salt crystal, then there is no more rays, but has flashes the same as when a connected wire is tapped on the battery's terminal, but without the red sparks. Depending on the size, sometimes I have to wait 5 minutes before I could see the flash. I think the flashes are caused by North and South Pole magnets which are hitting and breaking the atom orbit, while the magnets are circulating in and around the Earth. In the northern hemisphere, the North Pole magnets are coming down and the South Pole magnets are going up. Wherever each kind of magnets are running in their way, they are hitting their own kind of magnets and are pushing them in the same direction. This can be demonstrated by a foot-long magnetized hard steel fishing wire which hangs on a line thread horizontally and level. All that will have to be done is to remagnetize the wire by changing the magnet poles. Then the wire will lie in a slanting position. The South magnet pole will stay higher. By using a coil and microampere meter, it can be seen in which direction the magnets are running the most. When I break the orbit of the perpetual motion holder which I made, then I get a flash of light from it. But that flash of light is made by the north and south pole magnets, and so I think the atom is built up by the north and south pole magnets, and when the orbit is broken, then the flash is made, and the magnets are liberated to go somewhere else. The natural path to the North Pole magnets in the northern hemisphere is to go down, and the South Pole magnets to go up. I think it would be a good idea if the physicists, while testing radium on the photographic film for alpha rays, would put the radium on top of the film, and for the beta rays, the radium under the film, and then watch the results, or go to the southern hemisphere and experiment in the same way as they are doing now, and then notice if there is any difference. The gamma rays must be the same as the sunlight, but stronger because they are used very close to their source. We have north and south pole magnets, positive and negative energy, protons and electrons, positrons and mesons, MESONS, and alpha, beta, and gamma rays. Now, why such a confusion? Does nature really need so many things in the perpetual transformation of things on building up the matter and again taking it into parts? I think all that nature needs is three things: the north and south pole magnets and the neutral particles. Each kind of those three things can act differently with different speed and different combinations, and so they can accomplish different results. I believe the prospective physicists first should learn what magnets and electricity are. Then they will have a sound base for their experiments and their calculations. Cosmic force. Here is additional information for those who read my advertisement in the Miami Daily News. February 3rd, 1946. The North and South Pole individual magnets are the cosmic force. They are the building blocks of nature's perpetual transformation of matter, and they are so small that they can pass through everything. They pass through the Earth from pole to pole and around the Earth. If the North and South Pole individual magnets could not pass through a vacuum tube, the same as the Thomson's electrons cannot, then they could not be the building blocks. The Thomson electrons are very small parts of matter which come out of the cathode while the cathode is burned up or consumed in the vacuum tube. Without the general circulation of the building blocks, there would be no change. Everything would remain in the same way as it is now. The building blocks from a matter that go to pieces could not get in the general circulation for the new construction. I think the radium and uranium were built up inside the Earth with high pressure and heat, while the North and South Pole individual magnets were circulating the Earth. During the time the radium and uranium were inside the Earth, they absorbed more of the individual North and South Pole magnets than they normally could hold. And so now, while they're on top of the Earth, they let the magnets go so they can become normal again. So that's his idea on radiation, which is very interesting. Like, what would you call that? It's like dispensing extra magnetics. Gravitation must be caused by the smaller in the middle of the Earth, or by the matter in the middle of the Earth, and more concentrated than uranium. When uranium atoms burst, they release the north and south pole individual magnets that held the atom together. And then the magnets scatter all around. But when the atoms burst in the middle of the Earth, and many burst at the same time, they can only run from the middle to the outside. When the north and south pole magnets are running alongside each other and in the same direction, they have no attraction for the other kind. They only attract if they are running one kind against the other kind. When the magnets are running out of the middle of the Earth, as soon as they meet an object, they attract it, on account of the fact that any object there is both kinds of magnets in it. It can be seen by rubbing hard rubber or glass until they get hot. Then they will attract sand, iron filings, salt, and other things. To see how it functions, move a salt crystal a little. If it happens to get on a different magnet pole, then it will jump away. Another way is to rub hard rubber until it gets hot. Then it will be a temporary magnet. The difference between the rubber magnet and the steel magnet is that the magnet in the rubber comes from the magnets that hold together the rubber, and both north and south poles are in the same side of the rubber, and the magnet poles are small and there are many of them close together. But in the steel bar, the attracting magnet is not the magnet that holds together the steel, but the surplus magnets, the circulating magnet that was put in it. Attract the iron filings with the rubber magnet, then approach with the steel magnet. Change the poles, then you will see some of the filings jump away. This means the steel magnet changed and the magnet poles in the iron filings. I'll reread that. This means the steel magnet changed the magnet poles in the iron filings, and so they jumped away. Alright, so we're getting close to the end here. We have one more full page. It's about there's 3 pages on this one piece of paper here. That's folded in half. Magnetic current. Researchers, experimenters, and other people read about magnetic current. Then you will know what it is, how it is made, what makes it, and the way it runs in the wire. Then you will know what the north and south pole individual magnets can do, and then you will know what electricity is. Send a dollar bill by return mail, and you will receive an 8,000 word booklet postpaid, and in addition you will get a folder describing mineral, vegetable, and animal life, and a drawing of perpetual motion holder, and another folder with several interesting subjects, addressed to Box Holder Route 1, Box 196, Homestead, Florida. Magnetic base. Radio waves cannot be made without electricity, and electricity cannot be made without the north and south pole individual magnets. Electricity is made in 2 different ways. One way is by a generator using the free circulating magnets that are circulating in and around the Earth, and the other way is to use the bound magnets that hold together the matter, especially zinc. When zinc is put into the acid in a battery, and the right connections are made, then the north pole individual magnets will come out of the battery's positive terminal, and the south pole individual magnets will come out of the battery's negative terminal, and they will come out of the battery as long as the zinc lasts. And when the zinc is gone, then the magnets will be gone too. Physicists tell that each atom which builds up the zinc has 30 protons and 30 electrons. But when the zinc is taken into parts by the acid in a battery, then only the north and south pole individual magnets are coming out of the battery, and not a single proton and electron shows up. From this you could see the physicists are basing their thoughts on non-existing things. In fact, all matter and everything everywhere is held together by the North and South Pole individual magnets. The magnets are the base of everything. They are the cosmic force and they operate everything, including our body. If you want to know how magnets contract the muscles, connect each end of a fresh terrapin muscle with each terminal of a battery. Then you will see how the muscles are contracted. I've been watching while the acid takes in parts of the zinc and many other things. Everything that is taken into parts by the acid, the first thing I see is a very small bubble beginning to come out of the matter. When the first bubble appears, then the succeeding bubbles are coming out of the first bubble and are running or coming out in a regular line, one after the other. When the first bubble swells up, then it contracts in the middle and cuts off the new bubble, and then closes up the outgoing, and then swells up again and goes over and over again. Those bubbles that leave the first bubble act like small magnets, and some appear to have magnet poles. Most of the bubbles join the other bubbles, and some of the bubbles absorb many other bubbles before they themselves burst and disappear. When the zinc is taken in parts by the acid, then the magnets which hold together the zinc go into the bubbles, and when the bubbles burst, then the magnets go into the air in the Earth's general direction, or in the Earth's general circulation, back where they came from in the first place. But if the zinc is in the battery, then the magnets will go in the battery's terminals. I only used 3 kinds of acid: hydrochloric, sulfuric, and nitric, but used many kinds of matter to experiment with. For the best results, different matter needs a different acid to dissolve it, but every kind of matter produces bubbles, and each kind of bubble smells differently. This suggests a question. What causes us to smell? And then to go farther, what causes us to taste, feel, see, and hear? You already know that the magnets can contract the muscles, and smelling, tasting, feeling, seeing, and hearing is only a step from contracting the muscles. All functions in our body are performed by North and South Pole individual magnets. When we smell, the outside magnets come in contact with the inside magnets, and so we feel the sensation that they produce while they are passing by and through the nerve cord or tube, and the same thing happens with our other senses. Our eyes are like the broadcasting cameras. They send out magnets and receive back the images from the objects we see. Many of you have noticed, if you are looking with a concentrated look at somebody's back while the person doesn't know it, the person is liable to get restless and look around. I have noticed sometimes that I can chase the mosquitoes away from the wall by only giving a sharp look at them. Acid. What is acid, and what gives the acid the ability to take the other matter in parts? For instance, zinc, acid, and the bubbles that are coming out of the zinc are held together by themselves by the same kind of North and South Pole magnets. And why acid, which is one kind of matter, can take another kind of matter in parts? The acid atoms must have a smaller orbit and few magnets in it than the other matter that it takes in parts. In that case, the acid atoms can get closer and in the other matter's atom orbit and peel off the one magnet after another until the bigger atom matter is gone. The one who will find out exactly how it is done will be a real scientist. Radio waves are not waves. They are north and south pole individual magnets which are coming out of a transformer or the secondary windings coil ends, one half going up in the air and the other half in the ground in increasing and decreasing numbers. The numbers are regulated by the transmitting tube and the speed by voltage. The increasing and decreasing magnet numbers cause the receiver's antenna to generate a tiny current to start the amplification to reduce the original broadcast. To reproduce the original broadcast. The magnets are not running up to ionosphere and down again, but are running horizontally until they are lost. Those magnets which go up to the ionosphere never come back as radio waves to the receiver. They only cause the ionosphere magnets to come back to Earth as the radar waves. Magnets do not run in the way the radio wave drawings show. Sound base. All branches of science lack a sound base. Electrical engineers know how to make and manage electricity, but they do not know what electricity is and how it runs to the wire. Without knowing it, they have no sound base to stand on. Radio engineers cannot make radio waves without electricity, but electricity cannot be made without magnets, and so the magnets are the base of electricity. When chemists make electricity from zinc with acid in a battery, then the pole magnets are coming out of positive terminal, and the south pole magnets from the negative terminal. The same magnets can be used to build up some other matter, and whatever the matter is, the magnets always are the base of it. Physicists are using one-sided equipment to chase the non-existing protons and electrons, but are neglecting the north and south pole magnets, which are the base for everything. Physiologists do not know what the north and south pole magnets are contracting the muscles for our body functions. I'll reread that. Physiologists do not know that the north and south pole magnets are contracting the muscles for our body functions. Geologists do not know what gravitation is and what causes earthquakes in mountains. Perpetual transformation is going on with this earth all the time. When the atoms burst in the middle of the earth, the magnets are running out from the middle and so cause gravitation by attracting the matter that is in front of them. And when many magnets have come out, then there will be contraction that will cause earthquakes in mountains. Astronomers do not know what causes seasons. All planets and the sun have magnetic poles. The magnetic poles are pushing and pulling the Earth in an axis way. The Earth's summer end is always a stronger magnet pole than the winter end, and that causes the Earth to slide axis way and make the seasons. Millions of people all over the world have been fooled, including myself, by wrong drawings in geography books and showing how the Earth's yearly path around the sun causes summer and winter. In fact, the drawings are wrong. I was lucky. I made a rock telescope and a rock sundial, and they defooled me. Now I know the right path the Earth follows. The scientists should come out to Rockgate, Homestead, Florida, and have a good look at the new drawing, the telescope, and the sundial, and then notice how they would affect science. Above the reading, the magnetic current, the mineral, vegetable, and animal life, and the advertisement, they all go together. Ed Leedskalnin. May 20th, 1946. And that is that for his second pamphlet here. And again, here's the photo on the back of the pamphlet of Ed with his perpetual motion generator, which also he has a drawing on the front cover of it. Or this is the holder, perpetual motion holder. But you don't really get to see it here in this picture for some reason. At least it doesn't look like the drawing in the front. So that's that for this pamphlet. Wow, we went an hour already. Well, let's see here. I'm trying to do this so I don't get burned out on you guys. I might save this final book for next week. So there's about 45 pages in here, but the text is much bigger. So I could see this taking another hour, hour and a half. Just to give you a preview, this is going to cover the pyramids in Egypt. This is going to cover some Aztec stones and sundials and calculators. I believe this is Rockgate. Yeah, I want to say that this is it. So more photos of Coral Castle in this book that we have not seen yet. Yeah, there's definitely more in here. And this goes into UFOs as well. So the Enigma of Coral Castle. You see all the different photographs and renditions here. We got Stonehenge on the bottom. So I'm going to save this for next week, just so this is not overwhelming for me. I am a little different in my reading today just because I'm tired. So everything else is moving along nicely. We have the Thursday show on the Bermuda Triangle, and then on Saturday we have the beginning of my new show. It's a deep dive into 1900s Chicago film industry, and that is going to cover a lot of information, but I will be here to dissect it and help you along with understanding all of it. That's going to be a weekly thing. So we have at least one more Coral Castle deep dive. If I do more after part 8, it will be more of other odds and ends that I've collected that pertain to Coral Castle. But this should wrap that series up for me, and I will come back to this and revisit it if I have to at a later time. So I'm not putting a permanent end cap on this for next week, but anticipate part 8 to be probably the last part for a little while. So you can expect at least one more part that's next week, and we'll go through this Enigma of Coral Castle printout. And other than that, I hope you're all having a great week. The weather's getting warmer here in the Midwest, and I can just hope for the good weather to continue. So I really appreciate y'all being here. And as always, please like the video, comment. It all helps the algorithms. It helps get the channel out. And if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. If you're new here, welcome. If you've been here for a long time, thank you for sticking around. And I'm always trying to do new things here on this channel to help keep things interesting. And yeah, I think Thursday will be interesting with Bermuda Triangle. We're going to be getting into, I believe, more different ships and planes. But I think we're focusing more on ships next week. And then Saturday, we'll start the Chicago film industry series. And I think you'll learn a lot of new information about Thomas Edison. So, alright, with that, I will end this stream. I hope you're all doing well. And until the next one, until next Tuesday, and again, we got Thursday and Saturday. Please take care of yourself. And you can find the new streams in the upcoming tabs here on the live. And these live streams will be rebroadcast at a later time. Hopefully I can get this up again at midnight tonight. That'd be nice. But I've been re-uploading at midnight, trying to see where my viewers are at, who's coming in and tuning in. And yeah, that's it. Just trying to build this whole thing out. I will be having more guests on soon, so just keep an eye on that. Returning guests and some newer guests, so everything's just kind of floating around there. But do expect to see more interviews here. And yeah, that's it. Other than that, please take care of yourselves. Have a great rest of your week. I hope to see you all Thursday. And until the next one, class dismissed.